Welcome back to another episode of APositive Insights, and today I'm joined by Sean Anderson from Hoxo. Sean,
thank you for
really appreciate you joining me.
We found it.
We did find it. No, thanks so much. So we like to obviously start the podcast with a little intro. If you can provide the viewers or listeners a little bit of insight into who you are and the business.
Yeah. So founder of Hoxo, we're now a training and advisory business that support founders across the recruitment industry and their teams to, I call it building an influence-led agency, an agency that's built for the modern era, a business that's built on brand and demand, using the latest tools, techniques around AI, and generating profit and building a lifestyle around it that I like to think I help recruitment agencies build a business that supports their lifestyle rather than build a lifestyle around their business, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I've got clients in all over the world. We've worked with over 1,000 agencies since 2020. I'm headquartered in the UK. My team are remote, international, and we're enjoying it.
Yeah, great. So was there a point in time when you started to think differently about personal branding, and I suppose the reason you set up?
Yeah. So really, I mean, I've told this story a few times over the years now, but it's a long time ago, isn't it? I started the business in 2017, so we're 9 years old, and it was about 10 years ago, bang on, when I decided. It was 2016. I was top biller that had become a manager of a recruitment firm in London. I'd started in Australia, moved back to London, built that business up. There was 52 staff, London, Rotterdam, Munich. I was running the contract side of the business. And I was going to set up Hoxo, the recruitment company. That was the plan. But there was just something, I was pretty burnt out, if I'm honest. I remember being at a point in my career where I was like 29. I was excited about being an entrepreneur, but I wasn't that excited about like smashing the phones to candidates in my bedroom kind of thing. Like, it didn't excite me that much. And in the final year, I'd bought a house. I had the money put aside for the business. So I was a manager, kind of playing with techniques on someone else's money to figure out how I was going to run this company. And I started listening to podcasts and Stephen Bartlett's early stuff and Gary Vaynerchuk. And I actually got a call with Stephen because I know someone who worked at Social Chain years ago that knew him. So I actually got on the phone to him, which you wouldn't get now. And I realized really quick that the way I was learning through social media at the time and podcasts and YouTube was the missing link to how I wanted to work. So my recruitment job was pick up the phone, book a meeting, go and buy someone lunch, buy them a beer, coffee, network, and everything was around a square mile in the city of London, like the Gherkin. So we were still standing up trying to make 10 hiring manager calls before 10 a.m., which was working. We were fucking really, really profitable and successful, but I was like, I'm learning from people all over the world on my phone before I even left the gym. How do I impact the industry? Because I realized the one thing I felt really confident was when I got in front of people. Put me in a room with a client, I always did well. Put me with a good candidate, I always did well. But getting in the room was becoming tiring, was becoming repetitive. And when you're managing people, you run out of time anyway. So I thought, well, could I do what these guys are doing in the insurance market? And this was 2016. I started playing around with content. I didn't know anyone doing it. So I started putting out some basic videos. Like, you couldn't even do like a walking and talking. You had to make a YouTube video and send a link. So I played around with that and I started writing stuff on, basically just sharing the information that I picked up in a meeting. I just put it on LinkedIn. I'd be like, just listen to this in a meeting. What do you think? And I was getting inundated with messages. Clients I had not spoken to in 5 years were like, hey, Sean, love what you just said on LinkedIn. More people should share this, blah, blah, blah. I started to get top candidates coming in, jobs coming in. And the main thing was my team were picking up the phone for me and like, you know, almost selling like I work for Sean, but I wasn't having to do it. And I was like, there's something in this. And then when we were about to quit, I'd done like training courses on social media. I got really obsessed with it. My business partner was like, all in on recruitment. And I was like, I think we've got another business here where other recruitment companies would want to learn what I've been up to. So we hired a guy from Manchester I grew up with, came in, we always say hire, we gave him 33% of the business, which turned out to be a problem. But anyway, and then we basically launched we were going to go recruitment. We had like Bullhorn and everything ready to go recruitment. And then we had Hoxo Media. So Hoxo Recruitment, Hoxo Media. Hoxo Media was going to just sell the model to non-competing recruitment companies. But in my garden leave, while setting up the recruitment company, I sold 4 contracts of this to people in the first 4 weeks. And I thought, I wouldn't have 4 contractors running now, probably. So then I thought, well, why don't we do 6 months of the marketing business, give it a real crack, burn the restrictive covenant away, and then we can choose what we want to do in 6 months' time, like in the summer. And we never went and launched a recruitment company because we just took off and we flew. And that was 2017, based in London. It was pretty. We didn't know what we were doing. We were proper energetic. Social media was just. It was like the AI wave now, but in social, like Facebook, Instagram. Everyone was talking social media. No one really knew what they were doing. I got in at a good time. Yeah. Didn't have as much grey hair. Maybe that's the biggest change. I don't know.
I would say you're so far advanced to everyone else. Like everyone's talking about personal branding now, but 9 years ago,
Yeah.
I would say you were probably one of the you're definitely one of the early adopters.
I think so, yeah. I think there was a few. Greg Savage was popping about talking about this stuff, but there wasn't many. And I don't think anyone in our industry had someone to look to as a guide. There was marketing and there was recruiters, but there was nothing in the middle. Even when I worked in recruitment, we had a marketing exec who'd be like, oh, can you write a blog? And I'd be like, hang on a minute. And I'd just pretend I was on the phone and bugger off because I don't want to do that. I never really pieced the two things together. Yeah. But I think I became that guy that people were like, here's an ex-recruiter who clearly was good at his job, who's done that, and this is the impact. And then Hishem, who came and worked for me, and I trained him up, taught him, and then he left and set up his thing. And then there's two of us who worked together. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then Joel Alge in America came and worked with me, and then he spun off. So, the top 3 out of the top 5 on that Atlas influencer list were worked with me in the past. So we've had an impact, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You really have. So you've been doing this for 9 years and probably longer.
Yeah.
Why is it so important now?
I think people are just realizing like it's not even optional anymore. Like the technology we have at our fingertips, it's just not optional. Like it makes no sense to not have a presence online, to not have, I think it's something like 29 times the reach of your personal profile on LinkedIn to the company. So like, why wouldn't you leverage that? Like, and it's free. Like if you've got 5,000 connections in recruitment, all these candidates and clients, like why wouldn't you communicate to them? And it's like, it's bonkers. I think AI is taking it to another level. It's a bit like, in some ways AI is helping it, in some ways it's making it worse, in some ways it's distracting people away from it. I think the combination is the bit that I'm really excited about. Because over the last 2.5 years, I've kind of done with AI what I did with branding. I've been investing in it. I've been learning. I've been testing, and I feel like now I'm excited. I've got both strings to my bow. I can do both. But I also believe that the old school skills are really important. So like I always say you can't make money from this if you haven't got the skills to pick up the phone and actually sell to someone. Because I learned how to actually influence people face to face, how to sell, how to do the whole job. There's loads of people good on LinkedIn, but they don't make any money out of it. Now, the good thing is most of our industry were trained like me and you. They can sell. They can work one-on-one. If you can then elevate them online, it's 10 times easier. And this old school skills will even stand out even more if you've got this big brand and then you're actually picking up the phone and someone's like, oh, I phoned someone myself in December. I don't do it anymore. But I phoned someone who interacted with my business. He hit my website. I had nothing on. I rang him. And he was like, oh, my God. I didn't expect you to ring me. I was like, it's the easiest sale I've ever made in my life. Yeah. I was like, I probably should do this more.
You should.
Just don't have the time.
So you talk about why people wouldn't do it. Like from my personal opinion or experience, I always struggle to post. Like I'm so inconsistent. But when I do post, I get really good.
Yeah, I've looked, yeah.
Yeah. I reckon I get 2 to 3 clients off the back of a post.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably post like once every 3 to 6 weeks.
But that's based on what?
Oh, look, personally, I'd say that's based on self-doubt.
Yeah.
And just not believing in yourself.
Lack of training, like a guy.
Well, yeah, we have actually had training, but it's implementing that training. And I still I get told to do more video, more posting. And when I get to it, I struggle what to post.
Yeah, so there's 3 things that we solve for most people, right? Number 1 is ideas creation.
Yeah.
Most people are looking at LinkedIn going, I don't really know where to start with what I'd say. And I don't have an idea a day. I have ideas, but they're not consistent. And if you're relying on creativity and motivation, you've got no chance. You need a process that you can just rely on and it just runs. And with AI as well, you can really process map it out. So it's like, it's not about any of that anymore. The second thing then is confidence. So a lot of people, even when they have an idea, they worry about the negative downside. So they instantly think, what might go wrong when I share this? but that's confidence. It's a process issue to get the content created, and it's a confidence issue to execute and hold. So we work with people one-on-one on that, and no two people are the same. But the word confide, the word confidence comes from the word confide. Confide is you confide in others. You don't confide in yourself. You can't build confidence solo. You need good people around you. So we've got a strong team who know what they're doing, who support people. We read their content, we check what they're doing, we look at where they're headed. And the final thing is time. So like, if you don't know what you're doing and you're lacking in confidence, you look at this and you think this is a lot of work, it's laborious, I'm not going to do it. So we've devised a way in which people can do this in like 15 minutes a day. They can build their network, they can write good content, they can follow up, they can book sales calls in like 15, maximum 20 minutes a day. Everyone's got that time. Everyone's on LinkedIn anyway. How often do you check your LinkedIn account? Like
100 times a day.
Yeah, and you're on it, and I bet you're on it before you start work. You're on it at night. You probably check it in bed. I know I do sometimes.
It's bad.
Yeah, so like, don't tell me people haven't got time. They don't know what they're doing in that time. They don't have an actual plan in that time. So we've made it really efficient, really clear, process mapped, and we still believe in that one-to-one and like real live interaction. It's not like a load of recorded videos, my stuff. I don't believe in that type of training. We still have real people at the end of a screen helping people one-on-one.
Yeah, great. So if someone's looking to get started today,
yeah,
like maybe give them one piece of advice.
One piece of advice I would say is don't talk about things you don't know. So stick to what you know. So if you get off the back of a phone call, there'll be 10 things from any phone call you've made that you could probably share on LinkedIn that actually happened. From the rapport building bit at the beginning to the way that you've listened to their problems and had to overcome challenges to the way that you've given advice. All of those things, if one person on a call was benefiting from your insights, then 10, 20, 30, 100 people on LinkedIn will probably benefit too.
Yeah, I like that. And then obviously I've read a lot of your stuff online. It'd be good if you could sort of share like a case study of what's worked in the past and like how they've actually made money from it.
Is your audience, where are they based? Is it mainly Australia? Or is it?
Yeah, so Australia, New Zealand, and we just launched in the UK. So
yeah, there's a guy in Oz. I've worked with a lot of guys in Oz. A guy called Simon Hare in Australia would probably be a case study that you might have. Precision. So Simon came to me in the pandemic, and he'd been working with Greg Savage, and they kind of thought they knew what they were doing. Came to one of my free workshops where I'd give a taste of what we do, and he was like, "We don't really know what we're doing." So Simon's an ex-teacher, which I'm an ex-teacher as well. So he came into the sessions, he invested in it in the pandemic, and he learned my frameworks, and then he broke it down and he retrained his team with it. And the results, they made 10 million in 2024. They did 10 million in gross net fee income, right? 2.3 million of that was tracked back to clients that they won using my process on LinkedIn. They didn't even bother looking at their LinkedIn, the candidate side. It's like his words were, it's like tracking whether it's faster to go somewhere in a car than on the back of a horse. Like, we don't need to track it. We know it's working, but the client side, we looked at every single deal they did that year, and they looked at the source of the deal and the client contact and where it came from, and it was 2.3 million from clients that they organically met on LinkedIn. And that, so what he did is he put it through. He personally trained like 5 of his team, seen an uplift, but then I was like, mate, we can do this better. So then we've ripped through the whole team now, and anytime someone hires at Precision, they get straight. The first thing they do is they go into our training as part of their first 100 days in the job. Yeah,
amazing. It's awesome that they can track that ROI, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. Obviously, you mentioned about AI and how it can sort of supercharge your personal brand as well. You've set up a masterclass around ChatGPT.
Yeah, so basically, the way I run the LinkedIn training has been super successful, right? Since 2020, we've worked with on this specific product, over 850 businesses, tens of millions of revenue they've made. And it's a really clean, repeatable model. Like, we run the training on a very specific, simple cycle. It works. And then 2.5 years ago, the founder of Atlas, Jordan Schlossberg, who I think we've been talking about, I didn't know at the time, came and approached me. He said, look, I love your podcast. I've been listening, because he's launching an AI native recruitment CRM for the recruitment industry, but he'd never worked as a recruiter. So my podcast was like his learning platform.
Yeah, wow.
So anyway, he meets me at the expo and he says, look, is there an opportunity to sponsor your show? And I said, well, not right now. I've literally just parted ways with Vincere, who had an amazing relationship with, but since they were acquired by the Access Group, the feedback in the market just wasn't good enough for me to put my name to, and I'm not going to promote something I don't believe in. So we ended in good terms, but I said I don't really want to go near a CRM for a bit, and also I don't think the it makes sense to my audience for me to just hop from one to the other. So I said, he showed me what he was doing. He showed me the platform. He started talking to it to find candidates and things. And I was like, I've never seen anything like this. And then I found out he used 1.5 billion OpenAI credits to build it. So it's like a business application built on the OpenAI ecosystem. That puts him in the top 1% of OpenAI users on the planet, not in recruitment. I'm like, this guy's like a rocket
Next
ship.
level.
So I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't you mentor me for 6 months? I've got 40 people in my business. We're doing 2.2 million in fees. We're making about 25% EBITDA. It's a good business, but I reckon I could do it better. Can you help? And he went, yeah. So we spent the next 6 months just meeting on a bi-weekly basis and me running through my business applications and all the team and everything. And we made some real change. Like he showed me how to use a 20 quid a month ChatGPT license and change my business. And now we're 11 people. We did 2.8 million last year at 55% net profit. So it's a pretty good business, right? And Jordan's been instrumental in that. So as we're going through that change, my brand, the podcast, means that I get approached by all these AI tools. Well, most tech vendors at some point will reach out and go, can we do some kind of, I think that's how you got in touch, like, what can we do? Like, can we do a collaboration or something? So any AI tool over the last few years, I've gone, yeah, I'll meet you because I want to learn what's going on. I need to know. So I've done these demos and I counted 165 demos in 2 years. It's not, It's a lot. It's well over one. It's like 2.5, 3 a week, right? 15, 20 minutes. Most of them, I cancel them out pretty quick myself. I'm like, you know what, not for me. I'm not going to put my name to that. And about 20%, let's say 30 of them, I've gone, I like that. But before I want to do any collab deals or think about anything, I've gone to Jordan now because I'm like, he's my guru, he's my mentor. And honestly, almost every single time he started laughing and goes, let me show you something. He flips his screen, he goes into ChatGPT and he writes a prompt and he shows me how to do 90% of the output that these tools are selling in ChatGPT. And I'm like, wow. So I've just kept these conversations going. I've got all these clients on LinkedIn training that are seeing results. I keep asking, what do you use from an AI perspective? ChatGPT. If you had any training, no. I'm like, I reckon we can do something. And then Atlas, he's got 1,000 recruitment agencies plus now using an AI native piece of software, seeing results. And I've gone, Jordan, like, why don't I know recruitment? I also know how to build a training program that works. You know AI better than anyone I've met. Can we do something? So we built a program where we can essentially show recruitment founders and their teams how to genuinely turn ChatGPT into a commercial model, or not just ChatGPT. Like it can be Claude, Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini. The same. All those core platforms. It doesn't matter which one you use. We'll show you how to turn it into a commercial engine, not just a time saver. Everyone's saving 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But not many people say they've made any money out of it. Whereas our clients now they're making like 30, 40, 50K in the first 4 to 6 weeks because they're like, in one-shot prompts, they're opening up research that tells them companies to approach, hiring managers, gives them the message to send based on serious like 360-degree research that they just wouldn't know. And it's like, it takes a minute to roll these things out. So I'm pretty excited.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest opportunity for recruiters?
I think it's not about getting ahead of yourself and like forgetting what's got you where you are. Like I'm not here to say never pick up the phone and run it all on agents. Like I don't believe in that, especially not right now. But what I do believe is the biggest opportunity is a founder or a senior leader going, right, I know the wheelhouse of where I want to work. I know the market I want to serve. I know the type of customers I want to work with. I'm prepared to stand up and say what I think. I want to be visual. I want people to recognize me. I want to be a face that's not, I don't want to be that one recruiter that rang you about that one job once. I want to be the agent that you trust externally, consistently. But I also want to be leveraging the software I've already got, not necessarily because everyone's got ChatGPT or equivalent, everyone. I want to use what I've got to actually move the needle. Like I want to be opening new client doors. I want to be attracting candidates. I want to see the results. So the opportunity is massive. The opportunity is like a team of 5 can make as much money as a team of 50 perhaps 5 years ago because they're 5 times, 10 times in their output. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I would say there's too much noise around AI. I've got 2 different note takers. I use ChatGPT, I use Claude. And I'd honestly say that I probably don't get the most out of it.
You're just getting time saving, I bet.
minimal.
And maybe not if you're going across multiple platforms.
Yeah, like to be honest, I still write a lot of my own content,
Yeah.
and I just get it to review and correct grammar.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get it to come up with ideas or write stuff for me. So I do want it to sound like me. But yeah, like
you can train that though.
Yeah, definitely, you definitely can. It is pretty scary, like what he already knows about me. Like it really is. So, what would be top 3 tasks that recruiters could do on ChatGPT that would give them a return? That you'd recommend?
I mean, it's about use cases, right? So there's so many different use cases. The ones that we're specifically training 5 at the minute.
Yeah.
So the first one is you've got a candidate, you want to get them out to market. Anyone can go and conversationally say, look, here's a CV, where should I send them? And get a decent output. But we can get a completely different level of output. So you can get a different level of research around that person. You can get a different demographic and landscape of companies. You can get specific people to send to, and you can get specific messages written for those specific people based on the specifics it finds out. So you can have a really relevant message going out to very individual people. You might not send more messages, but you send precision. That's class. That's the goal. So there's sending out CVs. And then the same principle applies to, you see a job online or you hear about a job in the market. You're not working with that customer, but you think you could fill it. We can run the same sort of process there. You might want to do headhunting. You might want to look at, you might know there's a lot of candidates in the market that are quality, but you don't know who's outperforming the market, which teams are performing well. And the big one is you might not know why people will leave organizations other than just, we've got more money. We can work out some pretty impressive information around why people will be prepared to leave the organizations they work for and hit them with messages that you just shouldn't know. You know, and it's the level of information, it's the intelligence that's super exciting. Then you've got working a vacancy. So like you actually get given a job by an existing customer, you already got it. What do you do from end to end, from prep for the call, reviewing the job spec, coming up with questions to ask the hiring manager, questions to ask candidates? Like, I'm not saying you can't do this. If you listen to the show and you run a business, I'm sure you can, but it's a different level. And everyone who's running recruitment firms, they're running processes based on what they learned in the past. That's it. Everything we're doing is based on what we picked up when we were trained. We're walking into a world that's not based on the past. Like, it's genuinely changing. So learn how to do things in the future is my mindset. And then the final one is hiring signals. So if you genuinely want to get in, and before roles are released, you need to know where and when are the right time to hit organizations, who are the right people, what are the right reasons, you know, what are the triggers in the market that suggest there's going to be growth, there's going to be hiring. You can find that as well. But when you build these systems, we show our clients how to build 5 commercial workflows that they can just run on repeat in any use case, but also how to build it. So if they then go, well, actually, there's something else I want to do, they know how to build it end to end. They just copy the model, and so they might have 10 running, but these, you know, in 2 minutes you're taking a CV and you're out the door to 5 people with an incredible message, way above what your competition are doing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it really comes down to the research.
Yeah,
and obviously a time saver. AI is doing it for you.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. So do you think recruiters who learn how to use AI properly now are going to be way ahead of everyone else?
I mean, it depends how you measure it, but yeah, I think they're going to have an advantage for sure. I think, but the crucial thing is it's about continuously learning. So like, because it will, those skills will level out, and then it's about how do you deploy more? What do you do differently? So I don't think we can say you learn this and you're going to be fine forever. But I think the people that got on things early with LinkedIn and stuff, they're the same people getting on this early. They're the same people that are going to elevate to the next bit. So I think it's just about protecting what you know works now and having an eye on what one thing you could do to improve where you're going, and not buying everything in the market. But every quarter you should be investing in yourself to improve something.
Yeah, and you generally do that, obviously, with external specialists like yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And you were talking about the way the recruiter role is evolving. Like, what has changed in terms of the way people recruit?
I think it's the way people want to talk to each other's changed fundamentally. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want phone calls randomly hitting me in the day. Like, I don't want it. Like, I've got a day that's mapped out every single day. When I was working in recruitment in 2015, that you didn't have a day mapped out. You might have 1 or 2 meetings, but the rest of it was blank space to pick up the phone, to interact.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who works that way anymore.
Yeah,
your calendar's fucking back to back from the minute you get up.
It is true. I rarely answer the phone call.
No.
Like a phone call from
and
someone
on my phone,
I
can just scroll the dial and see who it is now and go, nah. So On my watch, sorry. So it's changing how we want to talk to each other. I'm not saying you can't phone people and get hold of them. Of course you can. You can still send mail to people. There's things you can always do, but across the board, we're interacting in a digital way, and people want to consume things before they make decisions. They don't want to be sold to constantly. And I do think the way we map our day is a big change.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get into people's calendar, not interrupt the moment. You need to find a spot in people's diary. That's the most important thing for everyone now. Like, I look at, like, how do I get my clients' calendars booked up? Like, how do you get busy in the diary each day? So you're looking, you've got 3 to 5 clients, calls, meetings a day. Because when you've got no pipeline, you feel different. When your pipeline's busy, no matter how your deal board looks, you feel better. That's why I'm like, I've got to run soon, because I've got meetings.
I'm thinking about the time. Definitely thinking about the time.
I've got meetings all afternoon.
Yeah. But I suppose we're talking about the phone call, right? But I feel like AI definitely frees up the time for you to have better quality conversations, better relationships.
I think it should.
Because I do appreciate speaking to someone on the phone. I find it when I speak to someone on the phone, they're like,
but
wow, like you said,
if you don't know how to use AI, I don't think it does that. I think everyone's saying it does. I don't think it does that.
No.
I reckon if you went into a recruitment company now, most businesses, and said, are you guys having more phone calls and more meetings because of AI? The answer would be no.
Yeah.
They're not actually getting that benefit. They're just sending quality emails that are better. That's probably what the recording calls and not having to type in the notes. That's about the admin that's the level the industry's changed. But it's, there are people popping out. There are people doing it. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, me too. Sean, thanks so much for joining me today, mate. I know we're a little bit short on time because we both got stuck in traffic, but just for the listeners, like one final piece of advice, what would you give to someone setting up an agency or someone looking to grow an agency at the moment?
I think genuinely, like, get clear on where you're going, like, before you work back. So, like, buying software, hiring people, all these things are just things to get to something, right? If you're not clear on where you're going, you're just gonna be navigating. It's like you tried to get here today in a taxi, but you didn't know your way around, right? I know the city. I walked from the station. I'm here on time earlier. I know where I'm going. Now that's just, but in the business sense, if you know where you're going, yeah, you'll go off path, but you'll navigate your way there. I think too many people in the recruitment industry come out of being a decent biller and just want to work for themselves, and then they don't know what that means. And they realize pretty quick that they get good at billing, they get a lot of work on, and then it's like, oh shit, capacities, I must hire. And then before they know it, they got 5-10 people in the team. They don't particularly like managing people. They're not making as much profit as they were when they're on their own. They don't know what to do. They've not got the skills to push it to 10, 20, 30, 40 people. And they're stressed out. I see it all over the industry. Whereas if you were like, well, you know what? I want to put 2.5 million quid in the bank so I can live off the interest in the stock market. You could work out how many years it would take you to bill profitably and put that away. You might be retired in 8 years, and you don't need to hire anyone. I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm 39, 40 this year. I had the team. I had 40. I was like, I'm making more money with 11 people. Now, the way I've built the business, I can't really trim it any leaner than that. I think it would just be at the detriment to the business. But I don't want to grow again. I can maybe one more head, and I want to take it from 2.8 to 5 million in revenue. I think I can do it. But it's getting externally invested so that when I'm 50, I'm done. And I'll be there earlier, but I want to invest 10 years. But I know exactly where I'm going. So if people are asking me to buy this, I'm like, no point. It doesn't benefit me. I'm on the journey. I've got my kids at home. I know where I'm going. And I really think founders should think that way. There's not many people that sell recruitment companies. There's a tiny percentage. And there's a lot that get to the point where they are either ready for sale or they actually sell and they fucking hated it. They hated their life. I'm not up for that.
Sean, thanks so much. And if people want to get hold of you?
I mean, LinkedIn is probably the best, but if not, have a look at hoxomedia.com, www.hoxomedia.com. You can have a little look at our training programs and things on there. And you can always listen to my show, The Rag Podcast, Spotify, Apple, etc. I release every single Wednesday with a founder all over the world.
Great stuff. Cheers, Sean.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. Hope you found it insightful. So APositive, we specialise in partnering with recruitment and labour hire businesses across Australia, New Zealand, and soon to be the UK. Whether you're starting, scaling, or an existing business, we're here to support you. With back office, payroll, funding, and payment options. Reach out to us on LinkedIn or come to our website at apositive.com.au. Thanks again.